Hello, everyone. I'm back with my dear friend Eben Britton, the author of EBEN FLOW, one of the most helpful books actually right now on Amazon. My book,
Love that.
almost the same, just the woman version.
Yeah.
And before we get started, I want to tell you guys how I met Eben. I actually found him on Instagram. I was just drawn to his post and I was just drawn to him. And we became friends after I stalked him for a little bit. And he had no choice but to, become friends with me because I'm awesome too.
Yeah.
He's one of my besties. And I wanted you to come on today and share your wisdom on how to, make the best out of life. I want you to, meet with my audience and tell us that how did you turn from a pro football player to yogi?
Mm, nice. It's a big one. That's a good place to start.
Well, we have to let them know who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you used to play football, and now
Yep.
you said, fuck this shit, I'm not doing this again. Something.
Basically. Something like that. Well, so I played in the NFL. I played pro football for 6 years, 4 years with the Jags, 2 years with the Bears. I played offensive line. I was a tackle and a guard. For your audience, if they know football, if they don't know football, I was one of the massive human beings on the line, protecting the quarterback and making holes for the running back. And it was my dream from the time I was 7 or 8 years old. I was at my grandparents' house in Connecticut. I saw clips of the New York Jets and the New York Giants in training camp. And I thought to myself, that's what I want to do when I grow up. That's what I want to be. I want to be one of those gladiators out there. Um, my mom would never let me play. Finally, my freshman year of high school, with the help of my dad, we convinced her to let me play football. At that time, I was already about 6'3", 230 pounds. I was always one of the biggest kids in class. Um, but from the moment I stepped on the field, and really even the year before that, because my mom had agreed to let me play, and I had a trainer and started doing really high level strength and conditioning from about eighth grade on, seventh grade, eighth grade on. But when I hit that football field for the first time my freshman year of high school, everything I did, how I carried myself, how I lived, how I breathed, how I ate, how I slept, how I envisioned who I was all in alignment with achieving this dream of playing in the NFL.
Mhm.
And I was physically gifted and I put the work in, and I was surrounded by a lot of great people who were very supportive and saw the vision that I had and helped me every step of the way achieve it. Um, so around my sophomore, I think at the end, going into my junior year, I had a dozen scholarship offers to go play football at universities around the country. Just about the whole Pac-10, Oklahoma, LSU, huge football programs. And that's when it really started to occur to me how big of a deal this was, for my parents not to have to pay for me to go to college. I get a free education. And it was starting to click what this dream really meant, the bigger picture of it. So I chose the University of Arizona, had a really stellar career, was All-American, team captain, all the stuff. Ended up leaving Arizona in 2009, entered the NFL draft, was drafted 39th overall by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And at the age of 21, I had realized this dream that I had had since I was a little kid. worked my ass off, had a great rookie year. Long story short, because the whole podcast could be about my football career, I 2 out of the 6 seasons that I was in the NFL, one because I dislocated my shoulder, and the other was the back injury. And so my body, long story short, was just taking a beating. And 6 years in the NFL, there was a lot of life experience, a lot of fucking dealing with immense amounts of pain, physical trauma, emotional, mental stress. I've written a number of articles about my experience with opiates and pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories and Adderall. And I was part of a Netflix documentary called Take Your Pills, which is all about Adderall, essentially, which I became highly dependent on throughout my career. Because in a time when I was experiencing significant cognitive decline, I was in a very low mental, emotional state. I was in a lot of pain. I started taking Adderall, and it momentarily lifted me up out of the haze and brought me back into the light. I felt like myself again. I felt re-energized and activated, but over time, I really just became dependent on it and couldn't possibly sit through a day of films, meetings, and practice without taking Adderall, without taking a very high amount of it, you know? And going back to my Adderall dependence, on a day when I didn't have Adderall, because I'd run out of my prescription, I took a Ritalin from a teammate, thinking that because these things treat the same disorder, even if I tested positive for it, because I had to get a therapeutic use exemption to use Adderall through a doctor. So I figured, hey, even though I don't have a TUE for this Ritalin, I'll have a good argument with, you know, the league if I test positive for it. Of course, the day I take the Ritalin, I get drug tested. And I don't get the letter that I tested positive until the season's over. And in that letter, they tell me the following season, I'm going to have to serve a 4-game suspension for taking an illegal substance. And
yeah, was that your aha moment to leave?
big time.
Fine?
The business of football gets really ugly and messy, especially in a game that for so many guys, myself included, you know, I really looked at my football brothers, my teammates as my family, my coaches these were my de facto father figures. Like, this was my family, this was my blood, and it felt like a great betrayal when the business came into the picture, which was just part of my learning process, you know, my learning experience. Exactly, Juliet. I mean, the universe was telling me over and over again.
But you weren't getting it,
I
so
wasn't listening.
so when did you become more aware of, okay, this is what I need to do, and okay, I need to start following my heart? Like, you had a great career. It was halfway taken away from you, and universe the other half. And you were doing things, you were taking pills, and you were injured, you were not able to play. And then one day you said, I guess I have to go. And then you left. And then what happened that you went deep within?
So I got that letter that said you're going to have to serve a 4-game suspension. And that was really, I remember vividly having this moment of recognizing that sign from the universe and going, it's okay if I'm done now, you know?
Surrender.
And it really, truthfully though, I had surrendered about a month and a half before that. And I remember sitting in the film room and we're watching practice from the previous day. And I was sitting there watching myself on film, and it was like a light bulb of, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I'm in so much pain from literally my head to my toes. It hurts to turn my head. I need to pop pills just to sit in this chair. God bless this coach behind me, but he doesn't give a fuck if I walked out of here today. He'll be going through all of this pain, thinking it's really glorious. For who? For what? What am I doing here? There's 1,000 places I'd rather be. And then to top that off, I'm watching this film and I'm thinking to myself, man, there was a time when I wanted to kill that guy that I lined up across from. Like, I stepped on the field with this bloodlust, ready to go to war, ready to take out my rage on the world. And I just had none of that left. I thought to myself, I actually really like that guy. And I knew then that it was over. It was really the sign from the universe. Oh, okay. It's okay to be done, Eb. Like, I heard the whisper of the universe saying, Eb, it's okay. You can be done.
Yeah.
With the intention of serving others on their own path to coming to terms with themselves and reconciliation in whatever form that might have needed to come in. And for me, you know, I had to start coming to terms with myself because I had spent, you know, I came from my childhood. There's a lot of alcoholism. There's a lot of darkness, a lot of depression, a lot of mental illness. And which was really the rock bed of why I gravitated towards football.
Mm.
You know, I felt as though football was this vehicle for me to prove to the world and to myself how big and scary and to be feared I was. And meanwhile, through the process of trying to prove that to everybody, I literally destroyed myself. You know, and meanwhile, I have all of this childhood trauma, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and I never had to look at any of that stuff because of football. Football was this big blanket that covered my whole identity, my whole persona, because everybody just related to me as this superstar athlete. Friends, family.
People, I would say in our generation, everyone I meet comes from the feeling of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
We cover with a lot of unnecessary diplomas. I have 4 freaking diplomas. I was trying to avoid it because I didn't feel I was good enough. So
It's true.
football was your blanket because you were good at that. And if you were to keep going, you will be accepted and you will be the one.
Exactly.
And when that was taken away from you, maybe it was a blessing at the moment. Maybe you didn't see it. Or like, I want to know, like, how was emotionally your heart? Like, were you scared to go into this next phase?
I wasn't scared, but then again, I didn't really have an understanding of the process that I was about to go through. You know,
What,
I think one of my gifts in life throughout has been that I have this, I'm very much heart led. And so I'm willing to throw myself into the unknown, even if that means, you know, throwing myself into a fucking complete tailspin, you know? So I wasn't scared, but I definitely had no understanding or concept of the healing process that I was about to go through and what that meant. You know, from coming to terms with myself, learning it's difficult to, but we know it, Juliet, like it's difficult to articulate the intensity of feeling and sensation when you're working through. I
Um,
mean, I think it's the hardest thing that we do in life.
um, unless we go through it, there's no light.
Yeah, it's true.
There's no shortcut. I feel we are here to remember as souls.
Yeah,
Because, like you say, that's also my thing too. I believe we all are miracles.
yeah,
I'm here to remember why we are here for, and we all have a mission. And in your book, you share all your tools with
yeah,
meditation, breath work, cold showers, organic food, body movement, yoga. Like I want you to share a little bit of that, how everything actually is super integrated, like from the apple we eat because it becomes us to what time we sleep. Like what's your routine like?
mm. Well, that's such a good segue because
Like somebody needs to start somewhere.
yeah, yeah, and for me, I was very blessed. I was raised by holistically minded parents, two people who really understood the power of whole foods, moving your body, drinking plenty of water, using whatever natural means are available before going to see a doctor to be taking some sort of medication. And that really served me as an athlete, but even more so in my life after football. So I come out of football, I find myself in complete shambles, for lack of a better term. At first, it was this interesting roller coaster ride coming out of football because at first it was this immense relief. Oh my God, I'm done. It's an interesting conundrum for anybody who's played football or probably any contact slash combat sport where to some degree throughout your entire career, you're wondering when you're going to be done. You're thinking to yourself, when is this over? When am I done putting myself through hell?
It
You
never,
know?
yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're there, and all of us at one point get there, and we're there and we're done. And so at first it was this great relief, and I felt very clear and clean about being done. A lot of guys don't get that. I was super blessed because I felt as though as a player I had nothing else I could do. I had truly run the wagon until the wheels came off, literally. There was nothing more for me to do. I didn't have any more will to play football. And that was a blessing. And I got to say, you know what, I'm done. I've given it everything I have, 1,000% every day from the moment I stepped on the field to the last moment I left the field. I gave it everything I had. So there was this great relief at first. And then slowly but surely, the reality of it started to creep in. Holy shit, what am I going to do? I'm waking up every day and I'm basically smoking weed from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. And this was fun for the first couple weeks, but I'm starting to get a little bit anxious about I don't have any money coming in. We've got just about enough money to get us through a little chunk. We've got a little bit of a cushion. At that time, my wife was figuring out what she was going to do. She was on the verge of starting her own law practice. I had no clue what I was going to do. My backup plan was to be a writer, and I'd started doing that. But going from earning checks weekly in the NFL to getting paid, you know, $1 to $2 per word for articles you're writing is a steep decline in income. And I'm starting to think to myself, like, what the fuck am I going to do here? Like, who am I? oh my God, wait, I thought I knew who I was because I had this underlying current of being a writer, of being an artist, like fancying myself and viewing myself as truly an artist underneath the football cloak. And yet here I am, and I'm really fucking, I don't know who I am outside of that. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. People say to me, Eb, why are you done? You're 28. I'm like, what? Because I'm fucking done. I can't do it anymore, you know? So and then I'm like, the tidal wave of my life is just crashing over me. But one thing I had was, I'm going to get my physical body right. I've always wanted to be lean and strong and see what I look like at 250 pounds, having been, 310 plus pounds for 15 years. So I started getting my physical body in order. And I had this immense knowledge of world-class strength and conditioning training that I got to experiment with and put to good use, not to mention my childhood being brought up in yoga with my mom. She was dragging my brother and I to yoga classes from the time I was 8, 9 years old, which was immensely beneficial for me as a football player. But being able to come back to that after football was so grounding. And it really just gave me this place to begin of putting myself back together. So I got my food in order, and that was a bit of an experiment. Coming my last year in Chicago, after that final season, I started training with the guy, an incredible strength coach, who got me on the ketogenic diet, which was an amazing experience for me to learn about a different way of eating that I had never really, as an athlete, it's simple, but it's sort of old school. You eat protein, you eat carbohydrates, you eat, your fat is kind of limited, but you don't want to get too much fat. It's mainly like protein and carbs is the emphasis. So to get switched onto a diet that was high in fat, very low carb, moderate to higher protein, and then to see my body transform, because the weight just melted off of me. And then I realized I wasn't going to go back. So then I got to really experiment with intermittent fasting. And for about 5 years, I did this incredible combination of ketogenic eating and intermittent fasting, and weight just melted off of me. And I went from 330 when I left Chicago down to about 300 to 290 to 275 to 270 within the span of about 18 months or so. That in conjunction with doing a lot of weightlifting, and we had moved back to Los Angeles and going on hikes and just getting out into nature the way you don't really have access to in other parts of the country.
I can't even picture you 310. You have photo. We have to
you can Google it. There's pictures.
Isn't that funny? I never even Googled you.
That's hilarious.
Like, story blows my mind. I mean, I read your book, but hearing it from you, it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's another lifetime ago, honestly.
Ketogenic lifestyle too, and it definitely changed my life. It's one of the closest to human beings I feel, because it's whole foods. It's all natural.
Yeah. I loved keto for a while, but at one point, especially when I started really getting into hot yoga, which is really my jam now, Bikram hot yoga, I was getting too adrenally burned out. So I had to start adding in some carbs. And at that time, I had started looking at the carnivore diet and started listening to this guy, Carnivore MD. And I got to have Dr. Paul Saladino on my podcast. who's the carnivore MD. Highly recommend him. And he's very high on fruits and honey along with this animal-based diet
Mhm.
for a number of reasons. I highly recommend anybody listening check him out if you're curious and interested in learning about just really ancient, simple practices of how to think about food. Paul Saladino is an incredible resource. So he turned me on because during keto, I hadn't eaten a piece of fruit in probably 5 years. you know? And then all of a sudden I started I started adding fruit in, and it was kind of the missing ingredient. And it just like brought me into a whole new level of feeling really good, feeling really energized, feeling really powerful, feeling more satiated and hydrated, which is a big thing for me.
Yeah.
Um, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, but around 2016, the reality of my life after football, the reality of not having ever taken a look at my childhood trauma, was really just crashing over me, which resulted in, I talk about it in my book, my wife and I having this. I was screaming into the telephone on my way to this job, this company that I had started, a CBD company, where I was basically screaming, I'm going to kill myself or I'm going to kill somebody. I just hit complete rock bottom. Didn't know where to go. I was really disillusioned. I was in a very bad state. And God bless her, she went and talked to my mom. She drove over to my mom's house in tears, said, I don't know what to do. Eb's really not doing well. And I don't know what to say. And so my mom and my aunt, well, my mom calls me up and I'm at this job and I knew she knew. And she says, Eb, how are you? As she always does. And I'm about to burst into tears. And she just says, Eb, why don't you come over for dinner? I'm like, all right. So I go over for dinner with mom and my Aunt Martha and my brother Gus. And, these are people, my mom and my aunt are just absolute sages, godsends in my life, have always been. And, they start talking to me and reminding me about our family disease of alcoholism and the effects that has, and that there are these tools. And at that dinner, they suggest to me that I go to Al-Anon. And Al-Anon is the 12-step program for family members of alcoholics. And my brother at the time had been going to a men's meeting. And so I said, why don't you come with me this day? And I had nowhere else to go. And so I went with my brother to this first meeting. It was a men's meeting here in LA. And the guy who led off, he started talking about his childhood, and the way he was talking about it just sounded like my story. He was just telling my story of what he had been through, and the shame and the guilt and the feeling like you're responsible for everyone around you, and not having tools to cope or deal with any feelings, or feeling just like life was almost too overwhelming to bear. And I went in there in this black cloud, and when he started speaking, it was like the sun just burst through and my heart exploded open and I just burst into tears. And it was the beginning for me. And it was this group therapy session, so I got to have this experience of connection, of group therapy, of sharing my experiences, realizing that I wasn't alone in my emotional turmoil, which then led me into therapy, which led me into meditation, which then was really I mean, then it just started, everything started coming together. And like you said, it's also integrated, you know. Um, and the meditation, for years, my brother had said to me, Eb, you should try meditating. And I joke about it in the book. I would laugh and like bark at him, like, nah, fuck that. I don't have time to meditate, like so many of us say. And then I was just at this point where I had nowhere else to go and I was willing to do anything. And so when my therapist suggested I meditate, I laughed and said, okay, how do I start? And she turned me on to this app. And every morning, basically that was in 2016, every morning since sometime in November of 2016, for the last 6 years, I meditate every single day. And it started with just putting on one of these guided meditations and going for a walk. And slowly but surely, I just kept tuning in to this inner stillness, this inner space inside myself. And I started feeling this immense relief and peace coming over me and clarity. And I didn't have that rat running on the hamster wheel anymore inside of me. That was just constant. It felt like that thing had been going from the time I was conscious, you know, of just all the things I had to do and all the people I had to take care of and everybody's feelings that I was responsible for, and my own self-worth issues, like you said. And that's really the trick, you know, like we all somehow find ourselves in this place where we're not good enough. And we go out into the world trying to prove to the world that we're good enough when really we're not. It's really, we're trying to prove it to ourselves that we're good enough. And so the question becomes, when are we good enough for ourselves?
Actually, I wasn't even aware I was feeling that. It was a default programming for me until I've done NLP training, until I've done the processes. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This is my self-talk? Wow. I was like mind blown. It changed my life 180. And now every time I'm with a client, that's one thing we immediately take care of.
That's the quintessential thing.
It's fixable, because
totally.
the minute you make unconscious conscious, you have a solution.
Yeah.
If it's unconscious, you have no idea why you're doing what you're doing. You don't need to fix anything because nothing is broken.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
True. Absolutely.
So I feel like in your case, after universe poke you 100 million times, you finally made the move.
Yeah.
And you had to go within to get clarity. Why I said integrated, because most people, when they change their diet into a clean diet, it literally gets rid of the mental fog.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
exercise and the toxins and even the water you're drinking, everything starts there, because this is the vehicle.
Yeah.
So what are we feeding this vehicle with?
Absolutely.
So I'm so happy you shared that, because you changed your diet, you got healthy, and then you were shown an opportunity to go to Al-Anon.
Yeah.
The minute you clear the periphery, you start seeing better, and actually universe starts sending you stuff and you see it. You don't need to be poked on the head a million times. Hey, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Exactly.
Oh, someone recommended me Al-Anon. Let me go check it out. Oh, someone recommended me I should check this, supplement. Let me see.
Yeah.
Or you would have just bypassed it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is your podcast. I don't know why I get so excited.
No, I love it, Juliet. Well, you've said it before. It feels like we're the same person.
From what you're sharing, because I resonate with it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I appreciate that. And I resonate with your story as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a great point, because who knows if I would have been able to receive the guidance of the Al-Anon or the meditation, like you're saying, if I hadn't gotten my body clean first. And that was truly the process for me. And that was intuitive. That was an intuitive step to get my body clean and to get my body right, my physical health in order, coming out of football first. And that really paved the way for everything else to happen. And once I started meditating, like you're saying, I was given this opportunity to step out of the way,
Yeah.
to allow the universe to start working for me, or to start recognizing how the universe was working for me, because the whole way through it's working for me.
Well, it is our universe.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not apart from it. We are part of it.
Absolutely.
Its job to make us live fully in joy and fun, and we're supposed to be happy.
Exactly.
Make everything.
Yeah, I mean, my point there is that in one plane of perception, all of those injuries can seem like the universe knocking me over the head, but really it's just the universe telling me, or gently nudging me into my new life. I just because of my mind and my ego, I was blocking myself from going there sooner.
What do you do? Like, what's your day like when you wake up? Tell us about that.
When I wake up every morning, I do my breath work. Well, first, before that, I drink a big glass of water with salt and lime. I love that.
Same.
Big glass of water. I really work. It's been a little difficult because I'm in a new apartment, so I don't have like all my stuff yet. But I do my best to get at least 30 ounces of water in a glass with salt, good sea salt, and some lime. That just gets everything warmed up, woken up, gets the digestive juices flowing, gets the liver and kidneys turned on and percolating, gets your blood circulating. After that, I'll do my breath work. Usually I'll do 5 to 7 sets of Tumo or Wim Hof style breathing, and then some other fun breathing exercises like a long inhale, 6-second inhale breath with a 2-second exhale out the mouth, just to really fire up my nervous system, wake me up. After that breath work, I can't express to you, really, to your listeners, because I know you know all this, Juliet, but I can't express enough how awake, clear, energized, excited about life you feel. I'll do a little bit of movement depending on my day. I at least do some stretching. I'll take my dog on a walk. The other morning, I moved into this new apartment, like I said. There's a hot tub here. I thought to myself, I'm going to get in that fucking hot tub. First thing in the morning after my breath work, I'm going to warm up and I'm going to do some yoga out in the sun at the pool deck. And I did that. It was fantastic. So I always do breathing. I do my water, breathing, movement. Then I'll meditate. I'll do 20 minutes meditation followed by prayer, where I really say my mantras for myself and thank the universe for the blessing of the day before me. Thank the universe for the blessing of my magnificent body. Thank the universe for my loved ones, my friends and family. And I feel, for at least, this has been really the game changer for me lately, morning and night, morning and night, I take at least 3 to 5 minutes and feel in my body the feeling, the sensation of being wholly, unconditionally loved, wholly, unconditionally taken care of financially, the sensation of abundance, prosperity, wealth, stability, and joy. And I feel that in my body. You know, if there's anything, I can truly say that there's nothing I really want that I don't have. But if there was anything missing at all, I envision and feel in my body what it's like to have everything I could have ever possibly desired and dreamed of in all of my existence. And I hold that feeling and that sensation for a few minutes, and I just breathe and I feel it and I see it and I envision it and what it looks like and how it smells and how it tastes and who's there and what it's like. And I do that whole thing, and I do that morning and night. And man, I tell you what, it sets the tone. It sets the tone in a big way. And when you start to hold that and you cultivate that sense of wholeness, because that's who we are, you know, that's who we are already. We don't have to do anything for that. It's already there. You can feel in your body right now complete contentment, complete joy, complete wholeness.
Our
You
body
can feel
has
it.
memory.
Totally.
It holds emotions. So one thing I can say, when Eb was saying, feel the abundance, feel unconditional love, feel how it smells like, how it feels like. If there is any part in your body that feels stuck, put your finger on it and breathe into it.
I love that. Yeah, it's great.
Because then you will know there's actually a stuck part in that pipeline.
Yeah,
There's a clog and it needs to be
yeah,
clogged. And you can actually do that with breath work.
absolutely. 1000%. I love that tip.
And
True.
one thing you said was very interesting. When you decided you wanted to become a football player when you were 16 or 14, or I forgot your age, like you were little.
Yeah, I was little.
Your mom, and from that point on, you became the football player before you became the football player.
Yes.
So by default, as most humans actually have this gift, we all have it.
Yeah,
You have to become it to become it. You have to be happy to be happy. So
yeah,
consciously, maybe age 16, you did not know what you were doing, but you became the football player, therefore you end up being a football player. And now with your practice every night and every day, that 5 minutes you take into yourself, you feel the abundance, you feel the love. So you see yourself in that funnel, in that sphere, in that reality.
yeah,
It's law, it's inevitable that will be your reality in 3D, in physical form.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's such a powerful thing. And like you said, everybody has this.
We all have it.
Every single person has this ability. And that was a really profound thing for me to recognize. And I recognized that pretty early on coming out of football. Because, like you said, I was doing it all intuitively as a kid.
Yeah, because
I
it's
had,
given to us at birth.
right, exactly. It's a natural gift that we have.
Up by the questioning how, because we're so accustomed to figuring it out. And
Right.
let's make a chart.
Yeah,
Doesn't need a chart. Universe doesn't need anything. We're
exactly.
supposed to be it to become it.
That's so, it's really, it's a transformative shift in perspective, because so many of us, I've definitely been guilty of this in various aspects or moments of my life. And I think we all do it at certain times where we make that comment of, I'll be happy when,
That was me.
right?
Until I
Yeah,
figured it out.
of course. And like you said, when you embody the thing that you want to create in your life, embody it first, and then it'll come. And get out of the trying to figure out what it looks like. You have no idea what it looks like. It might be, it very well be more incredible than you could even possibly imagine it to be.
So the key is stay present. Make
Yes.
this moment the most freaking awesome moment of your life. Because we only create from what it is now. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I haven't been there yet. So my
Yeah,
mind
exactly.
doesn't comprehend it.
It's such an important note. It's so important. I had this interesting thing, Juliet. I think you'll appreciate this. This guy, yesterday I did a podcast, and this kid was asking me about how do we live from a place where we cultivate presence and mindfulness, yet achieve all of our successes and live with ambition. And it was really interesting because he used this word ambition. And recently, like over the last few months, honestly, I've thought to myself about that word ambition, because at one time in my life, I was fucking highly ambitious. Highly ambitious. Even in the last few years, I've been highly ambitious. Literally running myself into the ground with like doing podcasts and coaching and flinging myself into every business inquiry opportunity that came my way, taking every phone call, to the extent that I totally burned myself out. And I had to completely, literally this year, totally reconfigure how I go about living my life, because it wasn't in alignment with where I've been going, where I'm at. It just wasn't living that way, rushing from call to call, spreading myself too thin. It wasn't in alignment with my energy and where I'm going and how I've been growing and evolving and changing. And over the last year in particular, I have really just settled into this place of trusting the process and getting completely present and listening to what the fuck is going on in here, in my heart, in my body, where I'm at. Not working out because I hate myself, but working out because I love myself. And over the last few months, I thought to myself, oh my God, Eb, because this little like mind voice, it circles back, this little thing. And it circles back and it comes up and it goes, Eb, like, holy shit, man, what are we gonna do? I have no ambition anymore.
Content with whatever it is.
Exactly. And I realized, I said to this kid, I was like, man, for me, the experience has been, the ambition has completely fallen away as I've gotten more present and more in alignment with myself. And yet, I am experiencing more abundance and more prosperity and wealth and good things coming into my life as the result of me doing less and just tuning into myself. Because then, being in alignment, the universe brings in front of me exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So ambition, there's no need for it anymore, because I just have to do, or I just get to do exactly what the universe has in store for me. I don't have to run out you know, to other parts of the country and try to seek validation and, doing that event over there and being with this person over here and, whatever it is that my mind has convinced me is necessary for me to prove myself worthwhile. I don't have to do any of that. All I have to do is continue honoring myself, getting super present, getting into alignment with who I am, my heart, my soul, whatever it is, that vibration of divinity that's inside all of us, and just let the universe bring me exactly what I'm destined to be a part of. And all of it, it's God will take care of it, you know?
That's exactly how I live my life. You're here today because you wanted to be here. I don't pay you. I'm
Yeah,
not offering any business opportunities to you. This is exactly why I love this, because it's literally coming from heart. This is my passion. I love sharing this information because there is hope. This
yeah,
is a supercomputer and we can put new software.
that's right.
Simple as that. And what do you do now for work? Like, are you coaching? You're teaching yoga?
I teach yoga. I do corporate wellness coaching. There's a company out in Venice. I go out there once or twice a week, take the entire employee staff through yoga and breath work, and then sit with them one on one and let them unravel whatever personal or professional obstacles they're facing or whatever they're in need of guidance or assistance on. Anything from literally nutrition counseling to spiritual guidance. I'm somewhere between a yoga teacher and a psychotherapist. So
So
it's
you,
a lot of fun.
yeah, you enjoy what you do.
I love it. I love being with people, you
Yeah, you
know?
pay for it. That's the
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
that's exactly what I do too now. I work for fun because
That's the best.
I figured it out. The lie, you have to work hard for your money. It's a lie.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
good for me. It may be true for you. It's a belief that it was implemented in my unconscious mind when I was really young.
Yeah,
Because that's how my parents showed us. You have to work hard for your money.
right.
Recently, I reset my entire computer. So the minute I changed the perspective of actually I have to enjoy, I get to go to work instead of I have to go to work.
Yes,
I don't even see this as work. I'm playing.
absolutely. I
I'm
love that.
fun. I'm playing. I get to help people on the process. Um, I wish everyone the same. Find your joy and just follow that, because
Me
that's
too. Me too. What else do we have?
nothing.
Exactly.
I enjoy being a mom more now.
Yeah,
It became from I have to, I get to. I mean, how lucky we are that we have children and we get to take care of them. My dad
thousand
may not
percent.
agree with me on most things, but that's what happens when there's
Yeah,
restoration going on in the house. Um, besides that, I'm really grateful for the life, and I get to wake up every morning. My toes wiggles. I can move my body. I have fresh air. I have fresh water. There's roof. There's a bed. I'm good. Essentials.
the best. I
You
love that. I totally vibe with that.
know, everything else is just illusion.
That's right. That's right.
I'm basically focused on bettering myself. I just want to be better than yesterday.
Yeah,
My own competition, and that's how I measure myself, because human beings, I think, enjoy progress. They want
hmm,
progress. That's why we should keep learning all the time so our brain can stay young, you know.
absolutely.
Yeah, I will never stop learning. I actually just started copywriting classes because I want to write.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, I think it's important because I felt like I want to deliver what I want to say in a proper way so they can hear it.
Yeah,
And English being my second language, I had a belief before, okay, I'm not good at English. That's not true. I'm better than most people who even was born here. So
That's for sure.
you know what I mean? So it's all about keep moving your body, eat healthy food, take care of your mental health. Don't take prescription drugs. Don't abuse it. You know,
Yeah.
1 out of 5 people in America, and America is what, like 300 million people, are on multiple prescription drugs. And it is very sad. It's
Yeah.
statistics. I did not make this number up. And
Yeah, it's true.
they're actually, most schools, they're forcing young children under 18 to get on ADHD pills or Adderall.
Yeah, it's wild. Antidepressants,
Yes.
all kinds of intense SSRIs. It's crazy.
This is why happy parents make happy children. So take care of yourself so you can give from a full cup so your children can benefit from your well-being. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so
Thank you.
for taking the time to see me. I know you're super busy. I just wanted you to meet with my audience. I love my audience. I love my followers. They're really very supportive on my journey, and we're growing together.
I
So
love that.
thank you for being here and sharing your time.
Thank you, Juliet. We'll do it again. I'm going to get you on the Eben Flow too.
Yay! Thank you. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.